so we're going to check out 2 projective tests here. All right.
They can reveal about your personality. Let's start with the Rorschach test.
Okay,
What do you see in this Inkblot? The Rorschach test has been around since the 1920s. It's named after its...
I would say I see Batman. Do you see Batman? I mean, he's in there a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I see his ears, his cowl. He just, here it's a little wacky, but I don't know. What do you, anything in there?
I see. This is going to sound really crazy. The female, you know the, like, anatomy? The female anatomy, the female reproductive
Yeah, the
system.
The Q?
Right? Like the uterus and the, yeah.
How would you be like that?
That? For some reason, that's what it looks like at first glance.
All right, another episode. We're getting right into it. This is going to be the Inkblot Rorschach test.
Nice.
All right, so here we go. We got ourselves some video. Let's check it out. Hold on.
Some personality... Not all personality tests involve answering statements with strongly disagree or strongly agree. Some personality tests don't even use words to reveal what you're thinking. In this video, I'm going to be talking about 2 of the most well-known projective tests, the Rorschach test and the TAT, also known as the thematic apperception test. These are more abstract tests that are still used today to dig deeper into our own personalities and reveal some of our more serious conditions. So, first of all, what are projective tests? Projective tests are personality tests that aim to look at what is happening beyond the conscious mind. Tests that ask us to evaluate ourselves require a lot of conscious thought, and these thoughts may be biased by how we want to perceive ourselves, or maybe what we might be ashamed to admit. The answers to projective tests often seem silly or unrelated, but only because it's revealing a deep...
I don't love his voice, but I appreciate his willingness to make a 5-minute video about a complex thing.
deeper unconscious thought process that you're probably not aware of.
Not easy.
Now, if you complete a projective test yourself, you might not be able to directly pin the results to our personality or symptoms of a mental disorder. That is a therapist's job. And while projective tests may face criticism, they are still widely used by psychologists and experts, even in the criminal justice field. So let's take a look at how the 2 most well-known projective tests are and how they work and what they...
All right, so we're going to check out 2 projective tests here. All right.
They can reveal about your personality. Let's start with the Rorschach test. What do you see in this Inkblot? The Rorschach test has been around since the 1920s. It's named after its...
I would say I see Batman. Do you see Batman? I mean, he's in there a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I see his ears, his cowl. He just, here it's a little wacky, but I don't know. What do you, anything in there?
A Swiss psychiatrist named Hermann
Believe it or
Rorschach.
not, I see. This is going to sound really crazy. The female, you know the, like, anatomy? The female anatomy, the female reproductive system.
The Q?
Right? Like the uterus and the,
How would you be like that?
that? For some reason, that's what it looks like at first glance. That's the first thing that came to mind.
You'd have a doctor be like,
I don't know, what does that say, right?
Say that again, huh?
Yeah, thanks. What was that, sir? What was that, comrade? Yeah, it's
talking about like the fallopian tubes and the all that
oh my
good
goodness!
Stuff. I'll never forget at school when
right?
we were learning about that, and they would draw it on the board, and we all would start laughing, and the teacher's like, "Stop laughing! Stop it!"
You stop laughing, or you're going into detention or the hall.
I remember
they send you to the hall. At least in my school, it was.
He originally created the test to diagnose people with schizophrenia. Now, the test didn't really gain the widespread popularity it has now until around the 1960s, when the movement towards uncovering the unconscious started to take off. At first, these Inkblots were completely random. The therapist had 10 cards and showed each one of them to the patient, and then asked the patient for what they thought about the card. What did the patient see? How long did it take the patient to share their interpretation of the card? If the patient saw a dog or an explosion or a friend in these Inkblots, the therapist would then have to decipher what those interpretations meant. The specific Inkblots...
Who's that person to decipher? I mean, I'm just saying. Get their pen and their paper, making them judgments.
Supposedly I know, right? They supposedly have knowledge of the subconscious, but how much knowledge do we really have?
My question was,
neuroscientists and psychologists have been probably wondering
did the people who invented college, did they go to college? Where'd they go?
that professionals use today were created with more intentions than just Rorschach's original 10. In 1961, a psychologist named Wayne H. Holtzman and his colleagues created a second set of Inkblot tests. These contain 45 cards, and they offer therapists 22 elements to consider whenever they're scoring the test. Okay. These elements include the time it took to respond, the amount of sexual content in the patient's answer, and
your answer went right there, man. I went to Batman.
Amount of bizarre thinking behind the response. Know, right? Patients who do not have a license to
bizarre thinking. I would just say that was an honest reaction. They'd be like, "Why do you see Batman?" I'd be like, because he's the Dark Knight.
Administer the Rorschach test may have a hard time deciphering their answers, but a local professional may be able to help you through an Inkblot test and tell you what your answers say about your personality, and maybe what you're hiding under your unconscious. The second type of...
Seems pretty generalized. I like to know they had like 32 elements. They actually had some sort of breakdown of that. So that's probably more interesting information, whatever those requirements are, you know.
Oh, right.
Thinking of some dude being like, "You're crazy, man." Like you make like 4 comments. Like, that's it. Lock him up. You're like, what'd I do?
The men in the white coats are here to help you.
What'd I do? It's I know for sure not that long ago, like, and even now, if they want to lock you up for being insane, that wouldn't be too hard to do. Some powerful person's like, put him in the loony bin. You know?
Could you imagine, man? I mean, I guess we can. It seems, for lack of better words, crazy. But yeah, you wonder sometimes. Where's the line?
Yeah, a lot of people went mad back in the day, right? Wasn't that pretty common? He went mad.
A thematic.
And some of the quote madness that we think of. I know one case where the person wasn't really as mad as quote mad as was thought or diagnosed. The person was just probably suffering from a kind of depression, really.
Yeah.
And that was it. But they thought the person just clinically insane, for whatever that meant, and they were institutionalized for the remainder of their days.
I believe that was a way to actually just get rid of people for a very long time. They probably still use it.
Yeah, I wonder.
I know Winston Churchill. They were hard on him when he was young. They thought there was so many things wrong with Winston. Maybe there was. You know?
Oh, yes, Sir Winston. Yeah, it's true. His father was rough with him, too.
Yeah.
About each character. The thematic apperception test works in a similar way. Therapists pick a selection of black and white cards with ambiguous scenes on them. Then they show one card to the patient and ask them to create a story around that card.
All right, I'm going to pull up some quick Rorschach images, and then we're going to look.
Interesting.
Hold on one second. Okay, yeah, I tried to find some images. That was a lot more difficult than I thought, so we'll just run this out and get to a reaction.
That would look at very specific sentences in the patient's story. He had a list of 48 elements that he would identify and score based on its role in the story. Since he created the original scoring method, 7 other scoring methods have also been created for the same test. What I'm trying to say is there's no magic deck of Rorschach or TAT tests that you and your friends can use to assess each character.
That's fair. That's fair. Is there a summary? No. All right, we're going to peace out in this video. So, yeah, it was, it's interesting. I saw Batman. You saw Productive Organs. And we learned a lot about...
Hey. You did, right? Now the whole world will think what they will about each of us. Or both of us.
To be honest...
awesome.
I saw what you described. I could see. Like, I'm not saying it wasn't there, It's all subjective.
Oh, yes.
It's just another... it was just psychology. It's just another form of assessing a person, a thing, whatever,
Yeah, what they're trying to assess a person in what's going on. In this case, in the subconscious mind, don't think just what's the first thing you see. I've done other ones where I'm reminded of an episode of The Simpsons where they pull up the Inkblot on Homer Simpson, and he keeps saying to himself, this is an early episode, he's like, "Please don't be the boy, please don't be the boy," and the Inkblot looks exactly like Bart's head, right? So he yells, "Don't!" No. He starts getting really angry, right? He goes to strangle a picture, and the loony psychologist in the show just stops him.
Don't be the boy. And then he was the boy.
It's just that's what I think of. Unfortunately, I think when I see anything about the Rorschach test, of those natures. It's like
I don't even know how much people even think about that thing in general anymore.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's. I'm not even sure if it's used that much. I mean, I'm not a psychologist or psychiatrist like that, so I can't say. But I don't know how often it's used, or whether it still holds the cachet or, you know, power it had.
I
When
think
it
at
was
this
first
point,
developed. I really don't know.
it might just be a drinking game. You know,
That sounds like fun. Yeah, there you go.
might just be a drinking game. All right, that was a little random,
Doctor's test.
but you know,
Yeah.
I'm glad we talked about it, and it's what it is.
Me too.